Tra-la-la! Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Season 1 review of the epic tales of Captain Underpants. Season 1. So the show is based off the Captain Underpants books written by author Dav Pilkey, and I believe is also a continuation of the animated Captain Underpants movie from last year. But of course the main differences being that Ed Helms, Kevin Hart, and Thomas Middleditch are not their respective characters in the show because, well, those actors are expensive. But anyway, so before we get any further, let me just tell you that I am a huge fan of Captain Underpants. I have so many fond memories of reading those books as a young child in elementary school. You know, they were like, back then there were about 8 books, and the 9th one was teased at the end of book 8, but it took so long to come out, so long to the point that I was just a lot older and kind of grew out of them, so it was kind of cool when that book finally came out, because I was like, oh hey, I remember these books. And then, before I knew it, a Captain Underpants movie was announced, and I was like, holy crap, because I never thought we'd ever get a Captain Underpants movie, let alone another book, and I absolutely adored the Captain Underpants movie from last year. I just think it captured the spirit of the books very well. So then when I found out there was going to be a Netflix show of Captain Underpants, I was like, hell yeah, but I had no idea when it was actually coming out, so last night I was just scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch, and then I see that the show has been released, and I was like, wait, what? It's already out? So I sat back for the last couple of days and binge-watched all 12 episodes for the sake of making this video. I had very high hopes for this show, and I think I can safely say that it holds up to my expectations. I would even go as far as to say I love the show. So you know how I said the movie captures the spirit of the books very well? Well, this show just captures the books perfectly. It's even structured like a Captain Underpants book. You know, the episodes are split up into chapters, and the two main characters, Fred and George, are introduced at the beginning of each episode, like they are in the books, describing how one's got a necktie and a flat top, and the other one's got a t-shirt and a bad haircut, and we also have a narrator character voiced by Sean Astin, and his dialogue as a narrator reads exactly like a Captain Underpants book. And they even have the fliporamas from the book as well. The movie did too, but this one has the fliporamas in every single episode, and thankfully what they did with those that they made them different in every episode. So in the first episode you have the traditional fliporama where you just, flipping the page to show Captain Underpants, punching the bad guy or something, but then in other episodes it's like, hey, we're gonna show you what happened through this graffiti in the bathroom wall, or we're gonna show you, intense anime type thing, or hey, let's just show it on some collectible plates like it's a QVC show. I mean, I just really liked how they got creative with the fliporamas in here, because it might have gotten a little repetitive. It was just, oh yay, the villain and Captain Underpants are fighting, here you go, just yeah. But I think my favorite part of every episode was the comic book part where George and Harold write a new comic book, the panels would come to life, and we get this really funny narration where it's just like, this villain, he's got a big butt, right, and he's terrorizing people with his big butt, but then Captain Underpants came in and he tried to punch him, but he couldn't get past his big butt, so then the big butt just hit Captain Underpants and went flying. So of course, since Ed Helms couldn't play Professor Krupp, aka Captain Underpants, in this show, I was curious as to who they would get for the voice actor this time around. And in the first scene with Mr. Krupp in the first episode, it was like, okay, wait a minute, did they get Wallace Shawn to voice him? Inconceivable! But it turns out it wasn't him, it was actually just Nat Faxon, who does a very good job of distinguishing the Mr. Krupp voice from the Captain Underpants voice. You know, Captain Underpants is more like, tra-la-la, don't worry, citizens! But then, of course, his Mr. Krupp voice sounds more like Wallace Shawn, which, I don't know, to me, when I always would read the books, I always thought he'd have more of like a growly, grumpy voice to him, like, George and Harold, blah, 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 blah. You gotta go to my office. But I like what the movie and the show have done to him as well, so it's all good. Oh, and George and Harold, the two 8-year-old characters, actually sound like 8-year-old kids now. Because they're actually voiced by 8-year-olds and not 30-something comedians. Which, you know, I mean, I do like Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch's performances in the movie, but these voices are far more realistic. So of course there are a lot of different villains from the books, but none of them are shown here. Instead they have an original villain every single episode, which I was a little concerned with that idea, but all the new villains just fit perfectly with the style and the tone of these characters, you know. You got this one character who's the overweight gym coach who has this really big butt, and you got all these other ones that are just based on other, you know, gross out potty humor and stuff. But my one complaint though is that you have all these new villains that you've made up, but you haven't used the one major villain from the books that you didn't use in the movie. You know, in the movie, you used Professor Poopy Pants and the Turbo Toilet 2000, those were arguably the bigger ones, but you're missing one. I mean, you're missing the Wicked Wedgie Woman. She's not here at all. I mean, of course, the Miss Ripple character's in, like, one episode with a speaking line, then she's just kind of there in the background, which is kind of disappoints me because I want to see that character. You know, I really liked the Wicked Wedgie Woman book a lot, so I really want to see her. Put the Wicked Wedgie Woman in the next season. So that's really my only complaint about the show, is that it doesn't use the Wicked Wedgie Woman, but, you know, that's kind of silly of me to think anyway, you know. Either they're gonna use her in, like, the next movie if they make one, or she'll probably be in season 2, but they better use her at some point, damn it. So my experience watching the show is a lot like my experience of watching the movie in the theater for the first time. Just everything that brought me back to the nostalgia of the books just put a big dumb smile on my face. And without getting into real spoiler territory, the final episode ends on a big cliffhanger, which is obviously going to set up season 2, which I really hope there's going to be a season 2 because I really like what they're doing with this show. You know, it captures the spirit of the books so well. It makes it an entertaining 22-minute kids show, and I just really want to see more Captain Underpants, you know? I mean, I would really like to see another movie, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. But you know what? If getting another season of the show as opposed to another movie, if that's the case, then I'm okay with that. Just seriously though, do something with the Wedgie Woman. So, those are my thoughts on the Epic Tales of Captain Underpants Season 1. Really hope we get a Season 2. But anyway, if you guys have seen the show or the movie or even read the books, note in the down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side. Tra-la-la!